This is episode 13 featuring the one and only Destiny from Power, also Berice on HBO's The Deuce. She is here, Brooklyn's very own Andrea-Rachel.
Hey guys.
She made it, y'all. So before we get into this interview, I just want to congratulate you on all your success, and I want to let you know I respect winners and winners respect winners. So I want you to continue to keep doing your thing. I want to say that before we get into this interview.
I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. So take me back to the beginning, because I remember watching you on Power, and I'm just like, who is this girl? Like, because I never seen you on nothing else, and then all of a sudden, you up on Power, and you got Tariq all caught up, and he don't know what to do.
People were evil. They were like, oh, she gonna get pregnant, and then she gonna trap him. This little ghetto beat. Look, they went in the first episode. I can't? Okay. Yes. But yeah, they went in the first episode that I appeared. I didn't know what to make of it. I was excited because people were talking, but then I was just like, oh, shit. They real. Like, they taking it far. So back to the beginning, I didn't know that it was a big show. Okay. Yeah, so my mentality was kind of growing as I found out, as I realized. I knew Power was a hit show. I loved Power. I was a fan of the show. But I just thought it was because I'm an actress, and most of my friends are actors or filmmakers or screenwriters. So I just thought, and I know that Power at one point talked a lot of trash and tried to go up against Empire. So I knew people knew of it. I just wasn't sure how many people actually tuned in. And so I think maybe 4 days before the first episode of season 4, that's when I found out that there were 8 million viewers, and I got scared. I was like, ooh, what are people gonna say? I hope this, I hope that. And then I had broken out on the show in hives. So I was wondering how it would come across on camera. So I was nervous about that. And so by the time my episode aired, I thought oh, they're just saying character stuff, she's gonna be a hoe, or oh, she's pregnant, or oh, this, that. I was like, okay, I can take this. This is fine. This is not personal. Yeah.
You got tough skin. Cool. You from Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. So it was fun, and the journey's just been crazy.
So how did you land the role?
I auditioned for it. It wasn't a major audit. Well, it's Power, so all of them.
Everything's major.
Yeah.
Right now, anyway.
I didn't think I was gonna get it, so I had a kind of nonchalant attitude when I went in, which I think is ultimately the reason why I got it, because I wasn't so invested in right. And so I just kind of played it cool, and I did the cat, and I felt like I understood where it was going. They didn't give us a lot of material, and I didn't read with Tariq, who is played by Michael Rainey Jr.'s character. So I didn't by Michael Rainey Jr. I didn't read with him. And yeah, about 4 days later, I thought I didn't get it, and then I got a call from my agent, and she made a big scary moment out of it, and then she told me I got it. Wow. And I didn't have to do a callback. So when she told me that I got it, I thought she meant I got a callback. So I'm waiting for more information, and she just sent over a contract, and I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And then she was like, oh no, you actually got it. You booked it. They don't want to see you again. You got to come on set and do wardrobe. And I was like, oh. So that was a good moment, because I had I didn't cry. My crying moment was HBO's The Deuce. So I actually filmed that first. And then I kind of got into a position where I was like, shit, now that I did HBO, what am I going to do? Damn, my life is kind of boring now.
What's my next role? What I'm going to do next?
And I started to get worried, oh my God. And then that's when I got the Power audition, but I didn't think much of it. So when I booked this, it was kind of hallelujah, I got another job. I'm a real actress now. I got more than one.
Exactly. Because it's hard for y'all out here, especially the women. Yeah,
it's really hard. And I didn't cry, but I was really, it kind of solidified how I felt as an actress. Because it's you do it once, it could be a fluke, but if you do it twice, it's oh no,
this is
you're
real.
Doing this, right? And then I did Law and Order the year previous, and then I had a commercial in the top of the year in 2016. So it just kind of felt more okay, I'm working. I'm now a real working actress on big platforms. And so it was just a relief moment. And then I just dug into the character and tried to get all the information that I could.
That's interesting. Could you talk a little bit about contracts and how they work, even from someone, even a nudity clause? How does that work?
So you get everything at once, basically. It depends on if you're going to be a series regular, if you're going to be just recurring, and then it depends on if you are what they call monthly, and then if you are somebody where they're kind of just getting you for a certain amount of time, which normally is like a year.
Okay.
If you do monthly, then it's like episode by episode or season by season, and when you do get the contract, it's going to be a lump sum, so it's just like a lot of paperwork, and most of it in the beginning is just talking about how they're going to pay you, just regular like W-2 stuff. And then from there on, it's about how much and then what you're allowed to talk about, the NDA, and then it's about the rights for them to use your image and your likeness. And then from there, that's when you get into the nudity clause. And the nudity clause basically just say, you know, it's not a given that this is going to be required, but in the event that it is required, do you accept the position of having to be nude? And it's not.
And what did you do?
Nude. It's not,
it's just.
Well, I haven't. Have I? I don't think I've signed a nudity clause yet.
Okay.
But at least not for Power. But
what about the Deuce?
Oh yeah, I got that. I got that in like my first 3 days.
So you have a sex scene in the Deuce?
No, like I said, it's in the event that something comes.
It comes up.
Right. So it's not to say that I do or I don't, but if I was to get one, then it's kind of like they kind of just ask you in advance. So you just let them know. And then it's all negotiable. So certain people says, no, I signed a nudity clause. You don't have to sign the initial one that they give you. That's why you have a manager. That's why you have agents so that they could talk on your behalf. And they say, well, she's not comfortable with complete and full nudity, or she's not comfortable with frontal nudity, but she'll do back nudity. She's comfortable only with stimulated sex, and you know, like they're different, and there are a lot of terms, and that's when you get your attorneys and everything involved, and that's when
so you have a whole team.
I do now.
She like, look, now with shit popping, I got a whole team. Like, it's real out here.
It was built slowly, and so I started out with the manager and agent like years back, but it didn't work out. Eventually, we split ways, and then I kind of reached out to my manager now, and it just worked. It meshed. It felt really good. So I got my manager. Then she brought someone else on, and then I got an agent through her, but that didn't work out. So then we got another agent who's been awesome and epic right now. And then from there, she's just been filtering people in PR, and so all of that now has
shout out to Avery.
It has come full circle, but yeah, shout out to Avery.
Yeah, she's good people. She really do her business right. I respect that.
She loves me, and I love her back. Hi, Avery.
Yo, you wow. But I want to get to LU. I want to talk about your experience with Lincoln University, which is my alma mater. Shout out to Lincoln. Today is homecoming. Look, one thing I want to say about LU.
He doesn't even go here.
I don't respect their artists that they pick for homecoming. Like these mumble jumble rappers, like I can't get with it. Like I felt like they like last year Meek was there, but this year is just horrible.
Meek always there. Meek there every year. Meek, that's his home. That is his alma mater.
But tell me about Lincoln and how you got to Lincoln. The experience of like how did you came across the chemistry department? Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, so you want to talk about it because you heard about it. You want me to talk about the drama. Okay. I went to Lincoln.
Okay.
The culture was really fun. I had very great moments there.
Okay.
I definitely missed the campus environment.
Where did you stay at? What hall did you stay in?
My first year, I stayed
Hansberry?
in Hansberry.
Okay, yeah, that's usually where they shoot the freshmen. Hoseberry,
I wasn't a hoe.
And Lucy Hall.
And Lucy Hall. Exactly. But they
Hall.
all have their nicknames because men are evil.
Men are evil?
Men are evil.
Interesting.
But in your adolescence, yeah, boys are
what about
dicks.
Grown men?
I mean, to each their own.
So you had a few that was good and a few that was bad.
When you're talking about adults, I don't think it's good or bad. I think that people just have different mentalities and they have a different set of standards, and I think that different people bring out different things in each other. So I think all of that comes into play when we're talking about adults. But when boys are children and kids and in their youth, you guys are just straight up dicks because you're selfish. But that's fine.
So women not selfish?
Women can be. We can be. Women
but
can
y'all
be petty.
are vindictive and y'all betray and y'all set niggas up like you set up my man Tyreek in Power, right?
Ooh, First of all, okay, so Destiny didn't do that. That's a lie.
She
liked
script.
a boy.
That's Ray in the script.
She liked a boy.
Okay.
And she was just trying to have her cousins back, who portrayed it as, oh, he owes me money. I'm just reaching out to try to find him. She knows her cousin. She knows it could have gone bad, but she never thought a girl innocent would die. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's an extreme. That's like when your mom says, oh, you need to da-da-da-da because then you might get killed. Don't wear that dress. Like, she goes to the extreme. So her thinking that, oh, my cousin was going to shoot somebody, my cousin was going to kill somebody, oh, it was going to be the daughter to... That's just outrageous. She's not going to go that far. So she did it because this is my cousin. He puts clothes on my back, roof over my head, and food in my mouth. And yeah, he can be an asshole, and I know some of the things that he did, but it's my cousin. And that's all it was. But I don't want to steer too far away from the initial question.
About Lincoln.
Women can be catty. Yes. They can be very petty. But I think boys...
How are you?
Boys being dicks, it brings that out. For those that are in a heterosexual relationship, because I don't want to assume.
Right.
Like I said, as for me, as an adult woman, different people bring different things out of you. Okay. So I have been, on a wide spectrum. Okay. Everything that, I guess, I'm a woman. So I've been petty, I've been catty, I've been emotional, I've been irrational.
Are you the type that put niggas on blast on social media?
I like my privacy, and I don't think that makes me look good. This is the guy that I picked. This is the person that I kind of decided to I gotta give you a hand clap for that. So for me, it's just not something. And then I don't think anything comes from it besides more drama and more. Yeah, and then I don't know, like, I feel like I've had my situations, but overall I had good situations. Like it wasn't the worst of the worst of the. I don't know. I'm also tough. I have very tough skin, and I see things very logically. So that might skew my perception because other women might be in certain positions that I was in, and then I may like handle it or see it differently from how the normal woman would. Okay. But because of that, I would say that I don't think I've ever had to or felt the need to put something.
It's 8:00.
Thank you. On blast. Yo, you get what I'm saying?
That guy get cut out. We went to edit that
No,
shit.
keep it because it's funny. It's funny. People will
keep
laugh
it?
at that.
Okay,
yeah,
Andrea, from Power and the Deuce said keep it, so we'll keep it.
I'm very private anyway because the way I see it is, in a relationship, in a real relationship, you have its ups and downs, and normally you break up, you make up, you break up, you make up. So why would I blast you now just to get back with you next week? I'm not going to do that. As far as everybody would know, we're not beefing. That's when we break up, they probably won't know. So that's just how I am. Like, I'm still cool with not cool, but I'm friendly. There's a difference between friends and friendly, but I'm friendly. But back to what you were asking.
Yes. What I want to, before you answer that, what I want to say to you, too, is that scene with you and Tommy when you was all hysterical, I thought you was just lights out. I mean, seriously, like, that was, how many takes did that take? Because that was serious acting. Like, then you started tearing and the whole nine. Can you, how many takes did that take? I really want to know. That was sick.
Okay, so.
You killed that.
It didn't take too many takes because they used more than one camera for different angles. Okay. And because it's Power, so almost everyone comes, bringing their A game. Okay. So people knew their lines. Right. People were already emotionally ready, and so it didn't take long to, bring that out. Okay. I will say that it did take... It's always going to take a little bit of time to shoot any scene because you have to get so many different variations of it. Okay. So, like, there was times where I just wasn't crying throughout the scene. There was times where it would just be like a tear. Then there was times where I was full-blown, like, hyperventilating. And just so you have to give them options, and then you have to do a close-up, and then you have to do a two-shot, then you have to do a master shot. So, I mean, all of that comes into play. But I would say that normally... It takes a long time to do stuff like that, and then it didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. It was my last shot for the day, and I think maybe it took overall 30 minutes, which is really good for acting in a scene because normally you'll be there for like a whole hour, 2 hours. But when we actually did it, it probably took like 30 minutes, and most of that was figuring out him like blasting through the door, and him like pushing me up against the wall, and making sure we had that action moment, and then everything else from there was just very fluid. Very, very fluid.
That's dope.
But my time at Lincoln, just so we can get back to it.
Yeah, let's get back to Lincoln.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, let's get back to OU.
I started off as a science major, biology, pre-med track. Didn't like it. Got into a little...
Who was the professor?
Oh, when you're a biology major, you have many professors.
But who was the one that really ticked you off? That made you mad?
It was the chemistry.
The whole department?
No, it wasn't the whole department. She was actually taking over for the department chair because I guess he had something going on. And she was fairly young, I guess. I guess she maybe finished her graduate or whatever. But she came in having her own preconceived ideas and notions on who we were as students.
Right.
And then a lot of the class that I was in, they were foreigners, not in the sense of not knowing American culture, but just, you know, coming straight from a different country to here. And so a lot of times that means that they're very humble. They have like a lot of grace, and they just won't say or feel comfortable saying the things that Americans will.
Right.
Because I know my dad's Jamaican. Like, the way the school system is, they're very strict. You can't talk back. You'll get hit with a ruler.
Right.
And so they kind of revere the teacher. The teacher is somebody that's put on a pedestal, and you're not allowed to say anything at all. And I'm American, so I'm very comfortable with telling my teachers to go blow something. So
you actually said that?
No, I didn't. But I'm saying.
But in your mind, you said it.
No. I'm saying that I'm very comfortable with those type of statements.
Okay.
So when we did have our interaction, it was because I went to go help a student and took them to Planned Parenthood.
Okay.
And she decided I must have been going for myself and that I must have been getting an abortion because that's all that Planned Parenthood does. And it was just very ignorant. And she attacked me for being fast. And at that time, I kind of blew up on her, and it became a big confrontation. And I realized there was no other person for me to go to because the department chair wasn't in. And so I could have went to someone else in a different department, like the biology department.
Right.
But it was like, why do all of that to get her reprimanded when the other students need her? So even if she was to get suspended or fired or whatever, like, that wouldn't be suitable for the department.
Right.
So I just changed my major. I wasn't happy with it. It wasn't the best education as far as chemistry was concerned. And so I was just like, I don't want to be here. And by that time, I had seen a lot of my friends on TV, and we kind of grew up together doing the same things, dancing, acting, singing, modeling. And so for me, it just made sense. It clicked. It was like, why didn't anyone tell me that I can get paid to do this?
Right.
I'm just as good, if not better. So I'm going to start pursuing it. And so I did pursue it. And in the meantime, I changed my major from biology to communications. And
okay. Yeah. So when you went into the communication, which is my field, did you ever think about being on air, having on radio show? Like, what was your thoughts as far as that is concerned?
Yeah, it was a backup plan. So the way I saw it was I could become a journalist.
Okay.
So it was like I would be able to, I didn't want to be a news anchor, but I wanted to be able to relay information to people. So I always thought about having a radio show or becoming a host.
Okay.
Or also writing articles, but really just, being on the ground floor of things. Right. But it was always a backup. At that time, I really started to focus on becoming an actress and becoming a professional choreographer. So it wasn't something that... It wasn't a passion of mine to say. It's something I did really well.
Something you did as a backup plan.
Right. I did it really well. I always knew I could do it. And at the time, I wasn't into doing things that I was good at. Okay. So that was another reason why I did chemistry and the science field in the first place. It was because it was very intriguing. I really had to study. I had to learn. I had to remember. It was more of a challenge. I've been doing it my entire life, but it was always something that was more of a challenge to me. Whereas writing, reading, like I have... photographic memory, like certain things are just easy for me, and I was brought up not to do easy things.
Okay.
So my father was just like, if you're gonna go to school for something that you actually need to learn. Okay. And he's just a Jamaican man, so doctor, lawyer, engineer, those were his yeah. Okay. And eventually life happens, changed.
So it changed for the better because now you got 2 shows. So what's up with season 5? You can't give us no hints or nothing?
I think season 5 is
Tasha going to kill anybody? Because she needs to kill some people.
I mean, a lot of people get some bullets at them. So
we just got to wait?
Yeah. I was lucky enough to be able to read some of the new script. So it's lit. It's beautiful. Hopefully,
And it's coming next year, right?
Yeah.
We just don't have a date.
Yeah.
You have a date, but you just ain't telling on the podcast, right? Isn't that in your contract?
No, the date is not in the contract. So
no, the date, not to say nothing about when the date is in your contract. You can't talk about it. right?
No, that's not in my contract. What's in my contract is to make sure that I don't reveal any new information that isn't already public. So it's not public.
He's just gonna reword it. And that was a good one.
It
doesn't
specifically say anything about the date. It just says that I'm not supposed to reveal anything that's not public.
That was cute.
Any new information I have to run by them. So
cool. Now I want to get to Deuces. I don't really know a lot about it. I want you to tell me about it, but I know it's dealing with the growing of porn and different things like that, human trafficking. But I want you to give me, your summary about it and your character, Bernice. A little bit about that.
So The Deuce is a drama. It's a series. It's on HBO.
Absolutely.
It's starring James Franco and Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big ensemble piece. So it also has Method Man. It has Black Thought from The Roots.
Yes,
it
Black
has
Thought
Lawrence
from Philly.
Gillard from The Walking Dead. It has Natalie K. Paul from the movie Crown Heights. It has Dominique Fishback from Show Me a Hero. It's a lot of people. It's an amazing cast. Pernell Walker from Pariah. So the acting is really good. It's very raw. It's very in your face. They don't really hold anything back. They're all about telling stories. It's created by David Simon from The Wire and George Pelecanos.
He a beast.
So it's dope, and it's about the rise of the porn industry in the 70s in New York City. So the way they get into that is they explain or they show that there's a bar owner in the 70s in New York City. Excuse me, who's having a difficult time maintaining the financial stability of his bar.
Okay.
And so he starts to bring in
women,
streetwalkers.
Okay.
And sex workers and their managers.
Okay.
And when he does that, it kind of opens up, and he gets into a partnership with someone else, and it's kind of insinuated that this is a person who is some trouble, and they have their hands in a lot of things. And so because he gets involved with them, it kind of opens up the gate for other things to progress. And so we kind of see how streetwalking develops into porn, and how porn becomes a big business, and how the big business, means that there are more opportunities for women. And so you see many of the women learning about sex, learning about sexual identity, learning about business, learning about life, love, and then you also see a kind of indoor respect to some friends of these people about the LGBTQ community. So it's a lot. It really is a lot. It's heavy. Sometimes it's really difficult to digest or understand.
Right.
But it's very important. It's going to bring up a lot of conversations about domestic violence and the rise of HIV and the LGBTQ community. And so I'm really proud of it. I play Bernice. Bernice is from the South, and then she comes to New York City as a way to model and escape, but then she realizes that's not what she got into, and you see her kind of struggling to accept her new reality, and you see her being very young, trying to be very tough, and she puts on this bravado, but then eventually you kind of see that it's weighing on her.
That's dope. So is that going to continue on? Like, is it going to be a season 2 or?
So they renewed it. I'm super excited about
Congratulations.
it. Congratulations. They bring my character back.
Congratulations.
It's going to air. It airs every Sunday 9 p.m. So I'm hoping that with that, the way it ends, they bring my character back. But it's supposed to be a 3-part miniseries. So that means after the 2nd season, if people still like it, then they'll bring back the final season, which would be the 3rd. And it's from what I was told initially, I'm not sure how true this still is, because things change, with every contract. But the way they said it was like, it's 7 years apart. So you see us now, then you'll see us 7 years later, and then 7 years later from that. So
that's dope.
I'm excited.
I like that.
It's like my first real character work. I did a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm really
So
excited.
you don't consider Power character work? What you consider Power versus Deuces?
Okay, so in the urban community, I've always, even before a big platform like Starz, I've always played like the girlfriend role. But in Hollywood, the girlfriend role is a lead role. It's a lead acting role. So that means if you're opposite the main guy, like for example, Notori is technically the lead actress in Power.
Right.
And Ghost, Omari Hardwick, he's the lead man, right?
Absolutely.
Being that Tariq is Ghost's son.
Right.
He's like the supporting to that.
And
I'm the support. So for me, I always have roles where I'm like the girlfriend. So it's kind of like a role where no matter how fun it is, because Ugly I did, it was super fun. I was a villain. It's always just kind of the same. And
you think Bernice is different than all your other roles?
I don't think that she's different,
but it's more leading.
All the roles are different.
Okay.
That's why it's hard to put into words. But I feel like it's just not what I'm used to. I had to do a little bit more work. Like with Destiny, I understood certain things about her instantly just because, one, I'm used to playing that role, and two, because I grew up in a similar environment where I was just always around older people. Right. And I was that around the way girl. I loved kicks, you know, like that's just... So it was just like...
It's easy.
It's not easy. I had to do work for it too. I don't want to downplay the role, but I just didn't have to do the type of work or as much work with Berice. I had a lot of fun. So you have makeup that's added to it, hair, clothing, a whole backstory that you create. Then you have to do a lot of reading. Then on top of that, I did a lot of documentaries, a lot of shows. It was just a lot of work. Yeah, and it was a heavy... I really took the not the message, but the storyline seriously, because you want to make sure you're conveying something completely honest. Right. You want to make sure you're not bringing any judgment, that you're being unbiased, and you want to also make sure that you're real, and you can show the human component. And so with that, it was just like I had so much to think about. Right. I didn't know how it was going to come across. I also had an accent, and it was like... Oh,
so you do have an accent. Okay.
But it's different from whatever. So I also had an accent, so I didn't know how it was gonna come across on the screen. Okay. So seeing it now, I'm like a proud mama. I'm like, oh. And I hate to see myself on TV, but sometimes I force myself just so I can be very critical and make changes for the next project, and just see things differently. So I always force myself to do it, and I hyperventilated for that. Like I said, I cried when I booked that. Right. That was the first one. So and I jumped up and down. I did a lot of stuff. But the point is, when I see it, I'm like, yes. She's like, yes. I'm so proud of you, little girl. And I don't feel like I'm watching myself. I feel like I'm watching someone named Berice who got traded into a sex industry and they renamed her Ginger. Like, I feel like, I don't see myself in that character. So
let me ask you this. I always wonder why actors or actresses or even rappers never go back and listen or see their work. Why is that? Because me, as a media journalist and hip-hop journalist, I always listen to my work. I always go back to see what I can correct, what I can get better. But I always hear that actors and actresses always be like, I don't want to see it. I played it. I don't want to hear it. I rapped it. Like, I don't understand it. Could you elaborate on, from your perspective, why that's like that?
I think the music and the acting are two
different things.
Yeah, because when I sing, I want to hear it back as I'm still mixing, master, as we're still going through that process. But once I say, this is it, it's done, I don't want to keep going back to it, because that's a whole perfectionist type of thing right there. Like, I will always find something to change. I will always find something to redo. It's just like, I'm never going to be completely satisfied. And that differs with everyone. Some people just feel like when it's done, I need to move on to the next. So I don't know. But when it comes to acting, I find that a lot in the community, because many actors and actresses, they don't come from a... Just sounds so... I don't want to stereotype anyone, but I feel like I just met a lot of good people from their intentions and their character and the morale that they don't want to come off narcissistic. Okay. And because they're sincerely not narcissistic and they don't do it for the attention or fame, it's hard for them to kind of see themselves in a position of, oh, other people are going to be watching me. Right. And then you're not... I know a lot of people say that when you're on TV, it looks real, it looks honest, and that's what it's supposed to look like. But it doesn't feel like that when you're shooting. You're really out of body. You're really... If you did it right, if you did it how you wanted to do it, then you're really not who you are on an everyday basis. Definitely. So sometimes going back to that and seeing that, it's kind of difficult to digest. Okay. And you start to go into a different headspace than where you currently are, and you'll go back to when you were shooting that or that freaking scene or something. And so a lot of people just can't take that, and they just don't want to do that transportation and that transporting back in time. And for me, I'm kind of the same way. It's just awkward. Like, it's hard. I'm gonna be a harsh critic. I'm also gonna think about everything that's wrong, and it just still feels a little bit weird to see myself on screen. So it's just like and I'm biting my fingernails, and I'm like covering my eyes, and I'm doing all that extra stuff because it's just, I don't know, it's hard. I'm not seeing myself, but I know I did that, so it's just like, yikes. And then other people are going to see that, so it's like, I
understand.
Yeah, and then 9 times out of 10, you're around a lot of people when you watch it. So you can't even be how you would normally be. That's so you have to try to put on a different facade in front of them and then watch it and accept it and not transport back into... It's a lot. So, yeah.
All right, we're going to change gears. This is a hip-hop podcast, so I want to get into some hip-hop. But right now, what's booming right now as far as female MCs is Cardi B, Remy Ma, Nicki Minaj. Who are... Out of them three, who you banging with? And why? Remy?
Yeah.
There we go. So I want to know from you, because when Sheetha came out, I felt like she killed Nicki Minaj to the core. I felt like ever since then, she has not been able to take those steps. Now, I see her on the... She
hasn't Nicki?
Nicki. She hasn't... To me, once that came out, it was like... It didn't shut her career down, but it's just like, all right, what's up, Nicki? Like, what you gonna do? And when she came back with no frauds, it's like, that ain't shit to me, because you a fraud. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what's really good? So I always gave Remy the crown, because I felt like when Remy got locked up, that's when Nicki got her shine. But when Remy came out, it's a wrap. Like, that's what it is. Like, what you think? And then all the stuff about Pat Pooh's writing for her, how you feel about that? I feel Remy Ma is just this a straight lyrical assassin. I don't feel like nobody write for her. That's just my personal opinion. What you think?
I feel like Remy writes her own shit. I feel like she's been writing her own shit before she started dating Papoose. I feel like even if Papoose was writing something, I don't feel like it's any way, shape, or form the way people try to convey it. I feel like it's probably like he'd be like, oh babe, switch that word to this because that sounds a little tougher. Or babe, oh you might want to do that with it because it might be a thank you. It might be a little blah 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 blah. But I don't think he's over here writing line for line, bar for bar. Like to me, it's just like, and you know what? I don't like that in the rap industry. Every single time there's a female artist out, y'all want to talk about who's possibly writing her rhymes. With Lil' Kim, it was Biggie. With Nicki, it was Safari. But it's like you can't get ahead if you don't have a male co-sign in the industry. So now every guy I'm around, if I'm a female rap artist, I'm possibly fucking or they're writing my shit for me. And that's not fair. I don't like that. So even if Papoose was somewhere in a dark tunnel writing Remy's shit, I don't believe it. I don't see it. And Remy writes her own shit. But as far as what Nicki can do or what she has done, I feel like Nicki is not trash.
Oh no, she ain't trash. We know
Nicki's not trash.
No,
I feel
she
like
ain't trash.
As you get up in the industry,
she ain't trash. No, not at all.
You make changes, and certain people are gonna have a difficult time accepting those changes. When Jay-Z got up in the industry, his lyrics started to change, his goals started to change, his music started to change, his dress, his attitude started to change, and you was either on the wave or you wasn't on the wave. And the only difference is no one's really come at Jay-Z since Nas.
Right.
I mean, they've tried here and there, but no one's really
Ether was the one. Ether was the one.
Right. And then when you think about it, Nicki ain't really ever have nobody come at her besides Remy. So this is really her first rap battle, and she did it where she was at the top and prime of her career. I don't agree with the fact that she took the route that she did, but I have an understanding of the logic behind it. Because when you get to a certain level, when you have so many things riding on what you say and what you do, fuck the culture sometimes. I'm not going to lose this check. And I'm not going to come at you in a way
So that's why you think Nicki didn't come back the way she could have.
Remy said some things.
She did. She really did.
If Nicki would have said those things, there would have been some backlash towards her.
Right. Yeah, so she trying to secure the bag. Secure the bag alert.
Remy was very disrespectful.
Oh, yeah, very disrespectful. And absolutely.
When you see the position of Nicki, had Nicki come that hard, it would have been like, one, why are you so invested in Remy like this where you had to attack her?
Right.
Two, you know, Remy just came out of jail. You know, Remy has a family. You know, she was just on Love and Hip Hop. We would have made every excuse in the world to attack Nicki, and we would have said a lot of different things.
So she played it right. She played it right.
It's not that she played. Like I said, I don't agree. I don't agree, but I'm also not at her level.
Right.
I'm also trying to be logical and say other men who are on her level, they move like her.
That's true. I agree with that.
They and that's the truth.
That's a fact.
She's just a female, so people are gonna look at her a little harsher than they would a man. And then it's not so many females in the industry as there are men, so she has a lot more riding on her opinion and what she says and what she does than the average man. But the reality of it is she is in a different place and space. Yeah, it's not when she was doing Itty Bitty Piggy that Remy came at her, because then we would be like, oh nah, you're bugging, you need to go eat. You know what I'm saying? But
absolutely.
it was a whole different getup. So I understand why she chose to make money off of No Frauds and the other
song with Wayne. Yeah.
Right. Like, I understand, because at the end of the day, one, those probably was already going to come out anyway. Yeah. And two, she needs to have the checks keep coming in. She has too big of an entourage. She has too many stylists, managers, like too many people eating off of her. She needs a check at every way.
Yeah,
and that means it's going to have to be radio ready. And that means that she can't afford to be dissing, you know, like...
Yeah, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I totally agree with that.
Not to say that Remy's not worth it. I'm talking about anybody who's not at the time where Nicki was in the position that she was in, because Remy's definitely worth it. She's a lyrical assassin. She's fly. She's beautiful. She has stories for days, and she's a real, I feel like, she's a real hip-hop person.
Absolutely.
And I think she can make hits just the same.
I do,
but she hasn't made as many right now, especially at that time when the whole battle happened, as Nicki, and she didn't have as... I don't want to talk about people's money, but whatever.
Dang.
But I love Remy.
Oh yeah, Remy.
I'm rocking her all the way, and I love Cardi, but Cardi's new, so we still gotta feel that out.
We gotta see how that's going to turn.
Yeah,
definitely. But let me ask you this: so you said something about how hip hop is, and basically it's always a man wrote they stuff. Why do you think they put that stigma on women, like women can't be creative as MCs, when we got multiple women that paved the way, like MC, like Queen Latifah? I can go on and on. Why do you think it seemed like the stigma got worse later on? It wasn't really like that back then.
Back in the day, lyricism wasn't looked at the same. It wasn't about the blows. It wasn't about the bars. It was kind of about the fluidity. It was kind of about what the music did to you. It was kind of, you know, when MC Lyte came out, when Queen Latifah was out, when Queen Latifah was out, it was about unity. It was about being empowered. It was about being a force to be reckoned with. And her lyricism has always been dope, but the flows back then were different. Some of them were a lot slower, even when they were fast. Like, it was just a different space and time. Like, the whole energy of hip hop back then was different.
Okay.
And so people didn't put the weight on the type of lyrics that were said that they do now. Now it's kind of like you have to find really creative ways to be like, oh, I'm going to eat you. Oh, I'm going to kill you. Oh, I'm going to... Like, it's very gritty. And
it is. And it's weird. It's weird. What about... Let me ask you about the fashion. How do you feel about how men are dressing in hip-hop now?
I feel like let people do what they do. Tupac had a nose ring. I mean, Earth, Wind, and Fire, they wore bell bottoms. They had patterns and colors and jumpsuits. Okay. They had the showing their nipples. It's like, if you're being true to yourself and it's not a gimmick, I'm all for it.
Okay.
And I haven't met a lot of people in the hip hop industry where I can know for sure if it's a gimmick or if it's really them. So I only hope that when they're doing something like that, they're doing it because they're honestly being true to them. That's what I really hope. I hope nobody is telling them put on a dress, put on the tightest purple pants that you can find, dye your
or a wedding dress, the video we just recently seen.
But yeah, so for me, it's just like, as long as this is really your vision, as long as this is really how you want to be seen 15 years later when you have kids and your kids grow up and they're Googling dad and they're Googling mom, then go ahead, do what you do, because I'm not nobody to judge. I love Prince, and Prince wore what the fuck he want. I love Little Richie, and he said and did, and he had eyeliner. Michael Jackson wore a wig. So it's like, who the hell, who are we to really talk about other people in their dress? I'm not somebody who thinks that if you wear a dress, you're less of a man. I might be curious as to why you want to wear a dress as a man, exactly. But I'm not going to say you're not going to handle your business as a man. So,
but you wouldn't date a man that wear a dress?
I wouldn't. That's just my preference.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But as a woman, I don't know how to tell a man he's not a man because it's something he has on. That to me is ludicrous. And then when you look at rockers, punk rockers, like, for generations in their industry, in their genre of music, they've been wearing whatever. They get their nails painted black. They got eyeliner. That's true. They wearing high. Like, rock and roll is there. Nobody talks about Lenny Kravitz and his tight leather pants, and he's been doing that forever. So, and his earrings, and so it's just like, you gotta let people live. At the end of the day, yeah. At the end of the day, they're making music for you to dance to, and 9 times out of 10, you're dancing to it. Even if you didn't buy it, if they play it in the club and you're drunk, you're dancing to it. Absolutely. So it's making you feel good. And if it's making you feel good, shut up, because when they die, they're dying by themselves. You're not gonna be there in the casket with them. So let them live their life how they feel. Like, I'm not.
You ain't beat.
Yeah, because if I want to wear some baggy pants and a big ass jersey, I dare somebody call me a dyke. I'll fight me. Fight me.
Oh, you got fighting, yeah.
No, okay. I'm just saying, like, it's just the audacity of you to tell me about myself because it's something I have on for the day. Right. Like, you don't know nothing about me, and I don't know nothing about them. I just hope that they do it for themselves.
I can respect that. Now, before we go, I want to get to that accent thing because
you have an accent.
Yo,
New Yorkers
but you said
don't.
I don't understand why you feel that way. Like, how is Philly the 215 and the 718s? Like, and then on top of that, your pop is Jamaican.
I don't understand how you feel that way. Cause how is Philly in the 215? Like, that's a whole different type of. That's a different accent that you just said just now. Like, that's different.
But your pop is Jamaican, so it's automatic.
My pops is Jamaican. He's not from Philly. He don't say Bo. He don't say John. He don't say those things.
You learned that from Lincoln, though.
I did learn that from
Lincoln. Okay, just so we clear.
It's true.
So you was hanging around Philly people then?
Yeah, one of my closest guy friends, he was from Philly. Like, it's something you do. You go into the city, like, I know the culture a bit, so it's like, I understand, but that doesn't mean I understand. It just means like, okay. And it's cool. It's not like I'm making fun of you. I'm not saying, oh, you sound like garbage. I'm just saying it's funny. And as a New Yorker,
in
New York, I get many more people trying to tell me and convince me I have an accent.
Do you get mad when they tell you that?
No, I don't.
You get upset?
I kind of expect it. Some people either say, oh, you don't sound like you're from New York because I'm speaking what they would feel would be proper or politically correct. And so they always ask me, oh, where are you from? You don't sound like you're from New York. And then other people would be like, oh, my God, when you said this, you sounded so New York. Oh, my God. So I really I'm used to it. I'm used to all different types of interactions about an accent. But as a New Yorker, you don't get a chance to really tell other people that they have this thick accent. Right. And so it's cool that I'm around somebody after all these years who's from Philly and they really over here talking about Barry. Like, what?
Battery.
That's crazy.
Battery, that's how you say battery. Like, what you mean?
Yes, as a Philly.
And young boy, like a young boy, like that's you mean that's the joint. We going to the joint. We going to like
see,
we
John
about to go get
bathroom.
a cheap. We about to go to South Street.
They're talking about a whole girl.
We about to go, but no, the joint is just not a girl. The joint is a place
y'all use it mainly for women. They be like, oh, y'all see that joint? No, y'all do. Y'all go in with the women. Like y'all won't be like, oh, I'm going to that joint. Maybe party. They be like, oh yeah, or event. Y'all be like, oh, I'm going to that joint. You going, but. Girl, like
yeah,
I
mean, girl definitely is definitely used.
Ashley
but
doesn't have a name. Is the John with the hair? Oh yeah, cool.
That John, yeah.
Y'all don't. It's John, and then a description.
But y'all got son. What up, son? Son. What about that, son?
But we don't use it mainly for a person, as in instead of their name. We use it as an end, as an emphasis, like son. Like, yo, Bobby, come here, son. Like, that, like, we say son. Like, yo, you dead ass son? Like, it's... Yeah. But y'all just like, oh, that John. Like, she doesn't have a name. I can still say somebody's name and say son. Like, yo, D-son, come here. Like, but y'all... No identity.
What?
Y'all don't have... No,
Philly, come on.
No,
yo.
I meant the way that y'all use John. Y'all don't identify anything. John is in replacement of identification. Like, y'all don't describe an event. Y'all don't call anything by its name. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just John.
Oh, but but Philly do have an identity, right?
Right. I'm not. Y'all have a culture and
absolutely.
Whatever. But
you just showing it off? Okay,
but
shout out to that.
I'm saying though,
you funny
at least when
as shit.
we say son, we still identify people.
Okay.
Y'all don't.
That's debatable.
Okay, if you say so.
We ain't going. You funny though. But what you got coming up next? And I appreciate you coming on this podcast. This was super dope. I appreciate you. What you got coming up next, though?
That I can talk about. I can talk about my indie projects. I have an indie project. #trending that's out now.
Okay.
I have it's old, but this is my favorite character that I played so far. It's called Shanti's Story, The Choice by Michael Boogie Pickney, who's the AD, the first AD to Spike Lee, and that's in festival circuits right now. It's been in Bronze Lens and Martha's Vineyard and a few others, but I love it. And
so, do you think it's going to go to the next level where it actually be
it's a short?
Oh, it's a short. Okay.
I'm hoping that it does. But that's a different conversation than pushing film. I have 72 Hours, A Brooklyn Love Story. That's old stuff. So new stuff, I have For the Love of Music. That's by Chad Quinn. I just did that. It's about, I play a real person who's Ty Powell. She was in the music industry, but it's about her growing up in the 80s and her going through the foster care system then and just all her trials and tribulations. And
how can I see that? That sounds super dope.
So we're just in post right now. So as soon as it wraps up, I'll put it out there on how people can see it.
On your social media?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell people how they can follow you. You can talk about Power Season 5. I know you can't give us a date, but at least tell us something about it. God dang.
Tune into it. It's about to be lit.
Well, this is I Do It For Hip Hop Podcast. It's your boy DJ Bugsy. Make sure you subscribe on Google Play, iTunes, DJ Bugsy 215 SoundCloud. Keep it hip hop. Peace.
11